Welcome to ET TV. I am Joanne Summerskills, along with my colleague Andrew Johnson, who will be bringing you the latest up-to-date information of government involvement on the ET question, UFO question, and allied areas such as the free energy technology. We start our programme with Sixto Paz Wells, a Peruvian ET contact, or contactee, of the last 30 years. And what did they look like that first time, those beings?
La primera vez nosotros lo que vimos fue a un ser de apariencia muy humana.
The first time we saw a being with both like a physical human body like us.
O sea, 1,80 m de estatura.
1 meter 18 centimeters is about 5 feet 7 or 8 or 9.
Okay.
O sea, un poco más alto que yo.
A little bit taller than Sisto.
La apariencia como un coreano, un mongol, un oriental.
His shape, his face was like oriental shape or Chinese or Japanese.
Era una persona robusta, corpulenta.
Was very strong man.
Ya, y pelo lacio que le caía entre los hombros.
They got hair very how you say when it's straight hair.
Sí, tenía un traje brillante con un cinturón y unas botas.
They got very Chinese clothes with boots and a belt.
Sí.
A belt.
Y hacía gestos con las manos.
And he talked a lot with his hands.
Y la comunicación fue mental.
And the communication was a telepathic one.
Why did they come to the Earth in the first place?
Según ellos, nosotros somos el resultado de más de un experimento genético.
According to them, we are the result of more than one genetic experiment.
O sea, aquí ha habido hibridación y mestizaje.
Here been hybridization becoming together.
Hybridization. Where were the beings from that you first had contact with?
Nosotros, o sea, los seres con los que tuvimos contacto al inicio venían de Ganímedes, una luna de Júpiter.
The first contact we got was beings from Ganymedes, one of the moons of Jupiter.
Pero ellos no son naturales de allí.
But they are not natural from that place.
Ese lugar es un lugar de vida artificial.
That place is an artificial life.
Ellos dicen que vienen de Orión.
They told them they coming from Orion.
O sea, de la constelación de Orion. Sí.
Yeah.
Pero que son como 60 razas las que están llegando a la Tierra.
There are about 16 different races of beings coming from different planets.
Hay seres que vienen de Pléyades, hay gente que viene de Sirio.
Some of them they coming from the Pleiades, other ones from the Sirius.
¿No? Y de diversos lugares.
And from different places.
It is planned that Sixto will be in the UK late September to October 2006 for a UK-wide lecture tour beginning in Ireland. Anyone interested in attending can email Joanne. Tickets will be in the region of £30.
In May 2004, for the first time, the Mexican government publicly released footage taken from military aircraft of several UFOs.
Now, though, the politics of UFOs. Mexican Air Force pilots capturing on videotape what are said to be 11, count them, 11 UFOs. Unidentified flying objects. They are officially that. Bright objects, some sharp points of light moving quickly across the sky. The tape called historic by some. Members of the Mexican Defense Department saying it's the first time UFOs have had the backing of any country's armed forces. Now, a group of activists calling on the United States government to end what it says is an embargo on the truth about extraterrestrial life. With us now from Washington is Stephen Bassett, founder and executive director of the Extraterrestrial Phenomena Political Action Committee. Last time he was here, he was running for Congress, was unsuccessful in that venture. But I will ask you today, sir, the Mexican government, the Mexican military says, hey, we took these pictures, these are UFOs. What was that, you know?
This is significant for two reasons. Shepard. One, this is released by the Defense Ministry of Mexico. This is a message being sent to the United States government that Mexico and many other governments are losing patience with our government's intransigence in ending this embargo. Other messages have been sent by France in 1999 with the Cometa report, and by the United Kingdom when they released a substantial number of documents regarding the Bentwaters case in 2000. Many countries know about the extraterrestrial presence, but they've deferred to the United States with regard to the timing of when disclosure would take place. But they're simply losing patience. I've been following this now for 10 years. We call it the politics of disclosure, the disclosure process. Hundreds of government witnesses in this country have come forward, and other governments are putting pressure on our government. The media hasn't covered it thoroughly enough, Shepard. If it did, it would learn about some of the things I'm mentioning here, and also learn about thousands of other videos and photographs that have been taken over Mexico by Mexican citizens, but this is the first time it's been released. Believe me, there is evidence like this in the archives of every major first world government in the country, but they release this publicly in a news conference in Mexico City. That's the difference. Disclosure is at hand. It is very close, and the American people need to prepare themselves very soon for an announcement from our government that there is, in fact, an extraterrestrial presence engaging this planet and the human race.
All right. Well, there you have it.
And now we'd like to talk about the Disclosure Project. In this segment, we'll be looking at the Disclosure Project. The Disclosure Project was started in 1993 by Dr. Stephen Greer. In May 2001, Dr. Greer held a press conference in Washington, D.C., where 21 of his military and government witnesses gave their testimony to the public. Dr. Stephen Greer himself will introduce the subject next.
Members of the press, the American public, and people of the world. We are here today to disclose the truth about a subject that has been ridiculed and questioned, denied for at least 50 years. The men and women who are on this stage and the some 350 additional military intelligence witnesses to the so-called UFO matter and extraterrestrial intelligence can prove and will prove that we are not alone. So we will begin now with the first of our witnesses, Mr. John Callahan.
My name is John Callahan. I'm a retired FAA employee. I was the division manager for the Accidents Evaluation and Investigation Division in D.C. About 2 years before I retired, I received a call from Alaska region where the region wanted to know what to tell the media. When I questioned, tell the media what, he says about the UFO, and it went downhill from there. What UFO? It turned out I told him what any government employee would do at that time was to tell them it's under investigation. And then I had him send all that data to the FAA's tech center in Atlantic City. The next day, my immediate boss, service director, Harvey Sophia, and I went to Atlantic City. I just purchased a new video camera, and I videoed the event. And in Atlantic City, we had them play back on a scope, you would call a scope, a plan view display, PVD, exactly what the pilot seen or what the controller seen, and we tied it in with the voice tape so we could hear exactly what the controller said and what he heard, and we taped it. We came back the next day, briefed the administrator, Admiral Ingen, on what happened. He wanted a 5-minute briefing. After we started the briefing, he wanted to know if he could see the video. We put the video on. He watched the video, the whole video. The next day, he set up a meeting for me to give a dog and pony show to President Reagan's scientific staff and whoever they brought over, and to hand off all that data to them. That morning in the FAA round room, it was either 9 or 10 o'clock, 3 men from Reagan's scientific staff, 3 CIA people, 3 FBI people, and I don't remember who the other guys were, along with all the FAA experts that I brought with me that could decide or talk about the hardware and the software, how it worked. We put on a dog and pony show. We let them watch the video. We had all the data there. We had all the printouts that the computer put out. They got all excited over it. When it was all done, the CIA, one of the CIA men told the people they were now sworn to secrecy, that this meeting never happened and this event never happened. When I asked him why, I thought it was probably just a stealth bomber at the time. He says, well, this is the first time that we have recorded radar data on a UFO, and these guys are going to get all excited, drooling over all this data. I said, well, are you going to tell the public about it? And he says, no, we don't tell the public about this. It would panic the public. He says, we're going to go back and study this. I said, okay. It was what he was going to do. Now, I've told this story many times, and I get sometimes funny looks from people. I have with me the voice tapes of the controllers that were involved, the FAA original tapes. See, after we handed this stuff off to the president's staff, the FAA didn't know what to do with it. We don't separate UFOs from real traffic, so it's not our problem. Okay? I have a copy of the original of the video that we took, which is rather interesting. And once the thing was all over, the reports started coming into my office, but because it wasn't an FAA air traffic problem, the FAA's report ended up on a table in my office. And it stayed there until I retired, when one of the staffers packed up all my gear and helped it move to my house. Also, in a box I found just a few days ago, in my 1992 tax return, I have the target printouts from the computer data, which, so if you wanted to or look at every target that was up there at the time, you can now reproduce this from this piece of paper here. And it's called the UFO incident, Japan 1648, I believe the number was. It happened on November the 18th, 1986. I'm prepared to go to Congress to swear before Congress that everything I've told you people and everything that is here is the truth. Thank you.
I was in the Air Force active duty after I graduated from the Air Force Academy in 1964 until 1971, and separated as a captain. In March of 1967, I was stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana, as a missile launch officer, Minuteman missiles. On an early morning of March 16th, 1967, I got a call from my security guard, primary security guard upstairs. We had about 6, as I recall, flight security airmen upstairs. I was downstairs 60 feet underground in a capsule, monitoring and controlling 10 nuclear-tipped Minuteman missiles. I got a call that morning that they were seeing strange lights flying in the sky. I disregarded that call, told them to call me when something more significant happened. I got another call subsequent to that call, and this time it was a more intense tone in the guard's voice. It was very clearly very frightened. He said there was a bright, glowing red object hovering outside the front gate. It was oval-shaped. He had all the other guards out there with their weapons drawn. Right after that call, I woke up my commander, who was on a rest period, Fred Mywald, a retired colonel now, and told him about the phone calls. As I was telling him about the phone calls, my weapons started going down, one after the other. They went into a no-go condition, what we call a no-go condition. They were unlaunchable. We lost somewhere between 6 and 8 weapons that morning within minutes of having received that second phone call of a UFO hovering outside the front gate. Again that morning, after reporting it to the command post, we were informed that a very similar incident happened at Echo Flight. I was at Oscar Flight. They lost all 10 of their weapons under similar circumstances, very similar circumstances, where UFOs were sighted over the launch facilities. They had maintenance crews and security crews out there that had spent the night, and they were reporting UFOs over those sites. We also have documentation that I received through FOA requests from the Air Force outlining the Echo Flight incident, and including in that documentation a reference to UFOs. We have telexes covering this incident, and in one telex it says the fact that no apparent reason for the loss of 10 missiles can be readily identified is cause for grave concern to this headquarters. Ancillary to that, excuse me, I've got the complete report on a Minot, North Dakota incident. That was Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, which happened in August of 1966. Very similar, UFOs sighted over missile silos, and also a UFO incident that was investigated by the Air Force immediately after our incident within a week. I'm willing to testify to the truth of all these matters that I've spoken about this in front of Congress under oath. Thank you.
For more information about Disclosure Project, please visit www.disclosureproject.org. In September 2005, former Canadian Defence Minister Paul Hellyer spoke at a conference in Toronto where he stated that UFOs were real, and he also confirmed some details of the Roswell crash. In our next programme, we hope to cover this groundbreaking speech more fully.
And finally, we hope you've enjoyed watching ET TV. And while I'm going to leave you with a petition, there's an international petition which is to be submitted to the Secretary General of the United Nations and all member nations on behalf of the citizens of the world. Now, this petition, if you are interested, is for declassification and release of all UFO files or records in their possession. That's government possession. Cooperate with and support serious scientific efforts for the study of this phenomena, and to allow the free use of the free energy technology in society. If you're interested in signing this petition or having a look at it, you can find it on www.virtuallystrange.net/petition. And with that, it's goodbye from me, Joanne, and Andrew.